Hello, S&D family. How you doing? This is not going to be a long one. This one wasn't scheduled, so if you missed it, just listen to it when you have time. But this one has been on my mind for a minute. It has now been 11 years. I escaped the debt matrix in 2015, and it's been 11 years now. That's a long time. That's a long time. And what's up, down south? Y'all, long time no see. Long time no see. It's been 11 years now, and I want to I want to talk about some of the things that I've gone through personally, my particular journey through this whole thing, and what I'm still going through. So, as you guys all know, the beginning was just getting out of debt, following the plan, and then escaping, basically, right? But along my journey, there's been a lot of personal things that have happened along the way. And you guys know how I always talk about fears, false evidence appearing real psychologically, right? Well, those fears, they never stop, but I've learned to recognize these fears, uh, turn them into not make them something for me to be afraid of, but use them as something to point me in a particular direction, right? Because every time I've done that, it's always turned out right. Okay. So the fear, first I had the fear of quitting my job, and then the fear of not having health insurance as I go along, just all these things to keep me trapped. And I realized, and this is what I was thinking about today. Well, not just today, but I remember when I was a debt slave, and I remember driving up, as most people do, you drive up to a stoplight, and there's somebody on the corner, a homeless person or somebody that's begging for some money or whatever, right? And I remember I would look at the person, and something in my mind would say, I'm one job away from being that person on the street begging for money, right? And then after the light turned green, I would just drive off, right? But what I realize now, who was that person that was saying that to me, that I was one job? Because right now, today, I know for a fact that my job, was masking that I was a debt slave. I only had the life I had, the place I lived, the car I drove, the vacations I went on, the healthcare insurance that I had. That's another huge thing. The healthcare insurance that I did have, all of it was due to my job. All of it. I didn't own anything. I didn't own anything. And even after, I call it my higher self. My higher self was saying, you only have all this because of this job. And you're only one job loss away. And the reason why it's the higher version of myself, because after I drove off, I went back into fantasy land. I went back into the debt matrix without even thinking about it twice. So it obviously wasn't me saying that. It was the higher version of myself saying that. But even with my higher version of myself saying that to me, nothing had changed at that time. It didn't change. Money was a complete illusion for me because I didn't own anything. My whole life was an illusion. Even the money that I thought I had in the bank, in my pocket, none of it was real, right? And where and as I went along, and I used to as I was slowly getting, I remember slowly getting out of debt, and I would start telling my friends, "Hey, this is." you should do this, just follow this plan. And nobody was listening. And a lot of them started to become jealous of me or envious of me or something. It was really weird. And I didn't, but these are the people that I thought loved me, right? Okay. But when I said, okay, forget it. I'm just gonna not tell them about it anymore. But that didn't change anything. The being envious of me and jealous of me continued. So I slowly started to have to remove these people from my life. I had slowly started to remove them, including family members, my sister, my mom, my close friends, the relationships I was in. Everybody started being envious and jealous of them. This is all part of my journey. I'm trying to, in my mind, I'm trying to help these people feel the freedom of becoming debt free. Hey, look, you really don't own nothing. You can't really save for retirement, things of that nature. But some people, I'm not here to say, I realize this, I'm not here to save anybody. Once I became free, I was giving off a different type of vibrational energy that I didn't know I was giving off. To me, I'm just ready to help everybody I'm ready to I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna turn it into wealth, and I'm gonna make it big. Even back in the day, I was just trying to get savings minus debt, on the road and become wealthy. But I realize this now, today in 2026, if God would have blessed me with financial wealth during the time that I wanted, I would have lost it all by now. I would have lost everything. If I would have became a multimillionaire back then when I started, I would have brought my family on and my friends and my relationship, and I would have when none of them earned it or did anything. So God had to prepare my mind for wealth. I had to be mentally prepared first before I can receive the wealth. And it's all of it and when I say the higher version of myself, put it this is a good way to put it so you guys can understand it. Think about something that you're not supposed to be doing. Okay, let's just put it that way. Something that's negative towards another person or something, or maybe or whatever, right? There's always a voice in your mind that says maybe you shouldn't do that. You can get in trouble. Maybe you can get in legal trouble. There's always a voice in your mind. Now, if you go ahead and do that thing that you're not supposed to do and you just do it anyway, obviously you didn't listen to the voice in your mind. Because I remember when I was in a relationship and I was trying to just advance us and just take this to the next level, there was another voice in my mind saying, she's doing things. You obviously see the things she's doing. Stop. You're ignoring them. You need to stop ignoring these things that she's doing because she's going to destroy it. Blah blah blah. Same thing with my mom. Same thing with my sister. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I love them. They'll change or whatever. No, but I kept trying to bring them along anyway. Obviously, I wasn't listening. Well, I know for a fact now I wasn't listening to the higher version of myself. But now that's all I do now, right? But now that let's fast forward to today, I have removed everyone and everything that could possibly destroy the dream that I have in my mind for myself, SMD, and other things that I do. All of them have been removed. So now the fears, I've noticed this with me, the fears look for things that I might not have taken care of, the things that I need to do. It'll because it's not many. I don't have very many things in my life that the fears can hook on to. I don't have those things, so it hooks on to uh, the some things I believe that could possibly happen in the future or the past, and I've learned to control those things. Like when that happens, like in my mind, if that happens, I'll stop myself and say, Is any of that true? Do I know any of that that's being made up to possibly scare me from doing something that I need to do? And then and if the answer is no, I know it's fear, and I stop. And now this takes practice. Okay, this takes practice. It's not easy. It's not easy. So to now, how can I put this in words? Now, today, after after escaping the debt matrix, now I can see everything. Now I can reflect on my entire life, and the fears start coming in like, oh man, you should have saved earlier. Are, are you going to have money for retirement? Are you going to, what about a house? Where are you going to live? Blah, blah, blah. All this kind of stuff that pops up because with the gift of sight now, which most of us do now, most of us SMD family members, I call it the gift of sight. Now that we have escaped the debt matrix, we can truly see what capitalism truly is. Like now, when you look at let's jump on. When I think about healthcare insurance, that's another thing, right? Now I understand why it's so expensive because since debt slaves have no money to pay for anything, oh God, how can I put this in words? I'm trying to okay, say like you get a healthcare insurance, right? And the only thing you are worried about is if the healthcare insurance covers everything at the hospital. Okay, that's the only thing. So, say like you have healthcare insurance and you go in there and it covers everything. You don't really care what the price of items, how much the doctor costs, how much a shot is, how much the pills are, how much the hospital stay is. You don't really care because if the insurance is covering it, you don't really give a shit, right? In this area, this is why they can charge whatever they want to charge, but you could because you don't care what the price of it is, as long as your insurance covers it. That's why they can. That's why they can charge that arena. They can charge whatever they want. It doesn't. It's no different than car insurance. If you get in an accident, right, and you have car insurance and it covers your car, you pay your deductible, and the rest is covered. You don't care what the price of the labor is, the parts of the car are. In that area, they can charge whatever they want. They can make it ridiculously priced inside there because you don't care. A fender on the say like you damaged a fender on your car, and if you bought it out of pocket, you can find a fender for like let's say $200. But if it's under the insurance, all of a sudden it's $1,000. Well, if your insurance is covering it, you don't care if it's $1,000. You see what I mean? This is why they can charge whatever they want to charge because they know the majority of debt slaves do not have any money. That's why they finance cars, right? That's why they finance the cars. So now they have to get car insurance to cover any accidents or losses. The bank requires them to do it because they didn't have the money to buy the car in the first place. This is the same thing with health insurance. And now that I have the gift of sight, I can see what capitalism truly is. That's almost if I'm not careful, I will let fear override me in that area of seeing because a lot of people have no idea what capitalism truly is. Capitalism in the United States of America was built on slavery. It's its foundation. It cannot change. The only way the foundation can change, the whole thing has to be torn down and rebuilt. That is not going to happen in our lifetime. Anybody listening to this video, and not in my lifetime, it's not going to happen. So slavery must continue. Now, when I walk around in my daily life, I understand that I live in a totally different perspective of the world now and of the United States. People that drive in cars and vacations and Facebook stuff you see, all of them are debt slaves. All of them. Now, when I go to, sometimes I'll go to wealthy areas, wealthy homes, just to kind of look at things. Right now, the majority of those people got mortgages too. No, it doesn't matter what neighborhood I'm in. Okay, they just have higher mortgage payments, but there are a few in there that understand how it really works. They understand that the only way to truly make it here in the United States, you must be debt free, a successful business, and create wealth. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. That's the only way. People that understand how it works do not ever think about money. They don't think about it. And that's what I'm working on right now. I don't want to I'm working on never thinking about money again ever. I don't want to think about it no more. So if I come across a person that starts talking about a neighborhood and how much the taxes are in this particular neighborhood, taxes are used to keep people, certain demographic of people, debt slaves, out of a neighborhood, period. If they want to, they call it like gentrification. When they want a area of the city that poor people or working class people that really don't have anything, if they want that area, all they got to do is raise the taxes, and the people that live in that area have to move because they have no money to stay. They never did. Remember this. The banks hold the mortgages. So the banks know right now, today, they know which neighborhoods, if they want to choose to uh if they want a neighborhood that the rich want a particular neighborhood that's close to the water, the banks already know where to go to move those people that are mortgages behind in their mortgages, have refinanced a house 3 or 4 or 5 times. This is the world that I live in today. I understand that once I become wealthy, I can move wherever I want to move because the majority of people in the United States have mortgages. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter. Uh, uh, Society makes it believe like, I watch this one girl. She'll go through in Seattle. She'll go through neighborhoods and say, "Hey, are there any black people that live in this neighborhood?" It really has nothing to do with that. It does, but it doesn't. Either you have the money to live in a neighborhood or you don't, no matter the color of your skin or not. You have to have the money, real money. And most of the people that live in these particular neighborhoods have real money, not mortgages, not not jobs filled with uh, debt up to their eyeballs. It's not like that. Right now, at the age of 56, sometimes I'll think back across my life, and this is where the fears try to jump in, right? The fears will try to jump in, but I stop the fears because I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through the things I've gone through. I love taxes too. You're right. Only people that understand to even say those words understand how taxes work. Debt slaves can't save money on taxes, but I'll think back as far as a teenager, right? All the I can see all the financial mistakes. I can see all the friendships that I was involved in, all the relationships, all that cost money and time. Time is the key. Time that I forgot that time capsule. That time capsule is turned over as soon as I'm born. Everybody in my life, the things that I experienced are all there designed to either help me progress in life or waste of time in my life, because that time capsule never stops. It never stops. Now at 56, a fear will try to jump in. Oh, it's too late. You're not going to have money for retirement. But that's not true either. If you build a successful business, you can make enough money for retirement in a single year. When I'm inside of the debt matrix with a job, and they have all these things. Hey, you need to have this much and to save $1 million in 30 years, 40 years. Those those kind of requirements are for people with jobs and are in debt. People that believe retirement is an age. People that believes it takes 30 years to save $1 million for retirement. That's a program. That's a program. I remember when I used to hear that stuff when I signed up for jobs. Here, yeah, sign up for retirement. Okay, yeah, you need this much. You're going to need to put this much away for retirement so you can have X amount of dollars. And they say that because as a debt slave, there is no way I was going to know how much I needed for retirement because I didn't know how much debt I was in today. If they This is why they always ask. This is why they always ask debt slaves, how much you think you need in for retirement by the time you retire at 50 or 60, which is all part of the program. Because put it this way, say like right now the age of retirement is like 67. Okay, this is what the program is so genius. It really is genius, right? And this is a site that I've been blessed with now. Okay, this is one of the sites. First of all, retirement is not an age, but they make the debt slaves believe it's an age. So first of all, you got to make it to 67. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, you got to make it to 67 in good health. So you got to take care of yourself physically and mentally to even make it to 67. And say like you make it to 67, what kind of condition mentally and physically are you going to be at age 67? Who's going to be there for you? The family that you have around you right now? You don't know. I promise you, and this is the one thing I've learned for people, listen closely, and you could take this advice or not. Pay attention to the family members around you. See how they live their life right now in front of you. Are those the people are you going to have in your life that you think they're going to be in your life? They're not. You have to think of yourself. Remove, and I promise you this, okay? Remove all of the people that you can see with your own eyes that are bad people. If you feel any kind of jealousy, because I this has happened throughout my life, I could feel jealousy from people and people, close friends. One second, let me get some water. 1 second. I could feel jealousy from family members, people that I'm in a relationship with, friends. If you feel any kind of jealousy from anybody, remove them from your life right now. Remove them, because it's going to hurt you later. And the most important thing it's going to be is going to cost you time in your life if you leave them in your life. Remove them. You want to create peace. Like right now, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm trying to do my best to put this in perspective because I'm in a new space right now, right? I have 100% peace in my life. Not many people reach here now. It's very quiet. It seems like you're alone. It seems like I'm alone, but I'm not. I'm not alone. Uh, I can't even, as far as a relationship with a woman, at age 56, she has to be here. Sex doesn't rule me. It doesn't start A relationship's not going to start with sex and the quick love. None of that stuff that happened in my life earlier. That's not going to happen ever. Nope. Because I have learned about narcissism with narcissistic people, right? They're easy to see now. They're everywhere. They're like death slaves, but they're everywhere. But I had to experience it first. So, because usually narcissists, they know sex is the first thing that captures a non-aware person. That's the first thing. So if it's not starting off like that, they're not going to be around very long because they're not going to catch me like that. And it feels free. It feels free not being addicted like that, especially as a man. But the space I am at right now, I have complete peace. I have two people that I call friend. Now there's a thing called you got your physical family and then you got your spiritual family. I have two people in my life, well maybe no three, about three people that are part of my spiritual family. These people are not jealous of me. They are here to assist me or help me. There's no lies. There's no using. We can sit down and have deep conversations. We don't have to hold back on saying anything. If something comes out wrong, they're going to take it wrong. That doesn't exist where I'm at today. All of us want to help each other. All of us want to see each other succeed and progress in life and just keep peace. Now, this peace that I've created, I'm not gonna. I won't let any person disrupt it, destroy it, cause problems in it. Even my own adult children, I've had to remove them because my adult children thought since I'm their dad and I love them, they can treat me a certain way or just disrespecting. No, you can't. Removed. You're removed. Now, when you do this removal of people that are close to you, there's going to be other people, other family members say, "Oh man, you shouldn't do that. You only have one mom. That's your sons. That's your sister." No, you turn to this is what I do. I'll turn to them and say, "If you bring them up again, I'm going to remove you too." Because they don't understand. They don't understand what it took for me to reach the place I am today, which is 100% peace. People think, "Oh, you don't hang around no hardly nobody, Linnell. You did. Hey, listen, you don't know. You've never reached here before. You don't know. Just like being out of the debt matrix. This is how you can compare the peace to the debt matrix. You understand? Once you leave the debt matrix, you try to tell other people, and they think you should be doing something different or whatever, right? It's the same thing. I earned this peace. I love that I can see the whole entire world uh, in a different perspective. Like, for example, you see all and this is where I kind of admire like Elon Musk, right? He's not here to save people. This was my problem. I thought since I got out of debt matrix, I was going to take say SMD. I'm gonna save it. No, I'm only instead of I use SMD to attract people to me. So you look at uh, uh, Elon Musk with Tesla. He's doing Tesla rockets, semi trucks. All these people that are buying Teslas, 99% of them are financed. They're making tons of videos. Look, I'm driving with no hands and this and that, acting like it's free. He's making robots. He got $1 trillion contract. He's set. His family set. His grandkids are set. His great grandkids, they're all set and they're not even thought about right now. That level, they do not think about money. He's here to one second. He's here to he's making the world better, but he's not here saving nobody. Do you understand? He clearly understands how capitalism truly works. That's just an example. I went and drove down to the waterfront where I live. There's this big ass yacht that's docked down there in the water, right? And I looked at that yacht. I'm like, that's somebody's toy. That's somebody that doesn't think about money the way I used to think about money. When you see yachts like that are just parked, they don't live on them. They're just parked. That's for their recreational, whatever. That's a person or people that do not think about money. That's where I'm going. I am out here. I will, don't get me wrong. If they see me and they are attracted to me and they speak the right words, I'll help a person. They'll come up to me because before I used to be like, hey, yeah, I'll help you for a couple $100. And then people will come on to me and talk. We talk on the phone. And then they're like challenging what I'm saying. Is it really real? I'm like, I'm not charging enough. The next person that charged $10,000. 10,000. That way, if they come with $10,000, they're serious. They know $10,000. I already know that SMD can change a life. I don't need to prove it. I don't have to show. I can show you with numbers. If you believe it, you believe it. You don't, you don't. 10,000. Oh, you're crazy. See you later. That person won't bother me no more. So, if SMD family members, are you listening? When you come up with your idea using SMD to do whatever, charge it what it's worth. You're gonna leave out the people that do not need to be wasting your time, because I understand in the piece where I have now, my time capsule is running. I'm 56 now. And another thing that the fear that I had, I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just trying to put this in. I'll have it organized later. But one thing about I realized when I jumped out there, which is a fear, what about healthcare insurance? What am I going to do while I'm trying to build my business? One thing I realized with healthcare, with not having insurance, it forced me to be more conscious of my health, because I realized when I was working and I had healthcare insurance, I wasn't really thinking about it, because if I got sick or hurt, I got insurance, so the doctors will fix me or they'll fix my blood pressure, whatever. How come I can't just do it myself? I can, and I did. I stopped eating like the way I was eating, exercise more, take care of myself. I figured it out and I did. There's ways to do it. First I had to escape the fear of the debt matrix, realizing that, and the reason why it's so much fear, because as long as I have a job, which is part of the program, that's the only way I could afford healthcare insurance. Because when I first quit my job, I'll never forget this. They sent me this Cobra packet. Hey, if you still want to keep your insurance uh, uh, with your previous job, it's going to be $1,600 a month. And I looked at it, I was like, what the are you? I don't have no job, but you want me, if I can keep it, it's gonna cost me $1,600 with no. That was to scare me to hurry up and get another job. So I had to figure it out. Okay, there's something I'm missing, because that doesn't make any sense. If I don't have no job, how am I going to keep my insurance using Cobra at 1,600? I'm not. The reason why they do that is for fear, to keep you in fear, to keep you working, to keep you too scared to go to get on your own to create a business. Because if everybody did it, that would be bad. Everybody, listen, everybody cannot wake up. They cannot wake up. There are very few people in the world that understand SMD perspective knowledge. Very few people in the world. I live in a perspective of the world now that very, very few people know even exists. Why? Because I took the leap. I did the fears. Uh, I used to think, am I ever going to make six figures again? Because very few people make six figures. And here I am quitting a perfectly good job making six figures. Why? Because I had to figure it out. What about if I'm not going to make any money? What about healthcare insurance? Where am I going to live? Like all the fears to keep me from doing what business owners have done. They have taken the leap. They have figured it out and now successful in pieces. Listen, once you escape, and I want SMD family members to pay close attention. Once you escape, you will actually see what an hourly wage is, what a salary is. You will see what it really is. Those are slave wages. Slave wages to keep you trapped. You will never get peace. You will never, ever get truly peace. You will never figure out what it takes, how much money you'll need to have for retirement. You'll never figure it out because you'll be in debt and you'll be having a job. A job is strictly for to save your money. Don't finance anything. Don't buy rent. Always you if you can't buy a house, you have to rent. There is no choice. So when you come across people talking about, hey, stop throwing away your money on rent, you turn to them and say, do you have a mortgage? And they tell you yes. That's why they're saying that. Because they're comparing two things that do not need to be compared. Rent is an expense, mortgage is debt. There is no comparison to be made, but debt slaves don't know that. So when you hear that, you have to ignore them. Rent, a job is just for you to stack your money because most of us, we come into this world, we don't have no trust funds, no money waiting for us. So you have to get a job. There's nothing wrong with that. You get your job, stack your money. And figure out what type of business you're going to get involved in as you're making your money. If I could go back right now with this knowledge right now, I mean, though my whole life would change, and that would change who I am today, but I'm just saying this for an example. The relationships that I got into, I wouldn't care how good the woman looked, what she had. If she was in debt, we're not getting in a relationship. We're not. I don't care about what kind of profession she has. I don't care how good her body looked, none of that. I swear to you, none of that is going to happen. None of it. I wouldn't even be friends really because I'd have to hear about the debt problems. As soon as they lose their job, I'm going to lose my car. I have to move. I know, but everybody, you know that you already know that right now. The majority of people with jobs right now know if they lose their jobs, they lose everything. You know today, right now. You just have to believe it. But the fear comes in and traps you and makes you stuck, keep you from moving. What? I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm going to make. As you stay out of debt, you'll figure it out. I promise you, you will. You will figure out a business. I promise you. Let me see who's in there. What's up, Share again? What's going on? What's up, B. Martin? Knowing this knowledge, I'm stacking right now. I'm investing in stock portfolio to pay my debt off so fast. Congratulations. You're right. What is it? D waves. Yep. Especially in relationships, reflecting. Okay. I wouldn't change a thing. Okay. Because my whole life would change, but reflecting, I definitely wouldn't have been letting another part of my body, because when it came to relationships, I was letting my body, a part of my body, control my relationships. If she looked good and the sex was good, oh, we're gonna have a relationship. No, today that would no, we don't even. We're not even coming close to that. I don't have people like that in my life at all. If I put it this way, Shergan, if I come across a person, which is easy for me to once now that I have peace in my life, it's easy for me to detect people that do not have peace in their life. All I have to do is just listen to them, the way they speak, the way they talk about other people, uh, how they live their life. It's really pretty obvious because the people that do not have peace, now listen closely, the people that do not have peace in their life, the way they live is normal to them. They think it's normal. It's not. It's not normal. what's the key to a job like the ultimate purpose so I know to the mindset every day at my career? That's paying well, but I want to start a business and not let the job take all my time. Well, first of all, B. Martin, you said you're still paying off your debt. I promise you, pay your debt off, pay your debt off first, and your mind will clear. I promise you, your mind will clear. Put all your focus in on one thing at a time. You must become debt free first. You have to. Can I use my job to invest in a concentrated stock portfolio and start a business like how Warren Buffett did? Well, again, by listening to you, B. Martin, you haven't paid off your debt yet. Right now, the only investment you need right now is to pay off your debt, your investment in you. Because if I could go back, say like this, if I could go back when I first got out at 18, the first thing I would have did was figure out how to eliminate my largest monthly expense is where I live. I would have figured out how to buy my own place. This is just me. I'm not giving you advice. You can just listen, okay? I would have figured out how. Well, I'm young enough, so I probably would have ended up getting a mortgage or something back then. But my only goal would have been to pay it off. Once it's paid off, I'm free. I have just eliminated my largest monthly expense for the rest of my life. So when I decided to move, I would just sell wherever I was living. I would just sell it, take that money, and buy me another place wherever I'm going to move to. I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck anywhere. But eliminating first of all, I would have never financed anything. That would have never happened. But eliminating my largest monthly expense for the rest of my life. Do you know how fast my money would stack if I didn't have no rent or mortgage to pay for my entire life? There is no better investment. There is no better investment. I would have made sure that today, if I feel any kind of jealousy from a person, uh, they're removed. They're not in my life because I pay attention to the energy. I'm very in tune with my energy now because I'm aware of it now. I was in a relationship, the last relationship I had, the partner that I was with was jealous of me, and I'm with her. Now, when I was in this relationship, I used to feel it. I used to think, why would the person I'm in a relationship with be jealous of me? It's something that I could not comprehend. Well, that's irrelevant. I will never know why people are jealous of other people because I've never been jealous of anybody. The reason why, me personally, the reason why I can feel jealousy so well from another person, because I've never been jealous of anybody in my life. So, since everything is positive and negative, I'm a receiver. I can feel people who are jealous of me because I don't know what it's like to be jealous of another person. That has never made any sense to me. Why are people, and so it's not up to me to figure out why a person's jealous of me because I don't know why jealous people are jealous of other people. I don't know. That's not my problem. So now if I feel it, I don't question it. They are removed, period. That was such, now, don't get me wrong. I learned a lot of lessons during that relationship. And it built me to who I am today. Okay. So I'm just passing on what I know from that information. What's up, Jimmy? How you doing? Thank you, LJ, for taking the time in your life to explain this time and time again. Hello, SMD fan. Yeah, I think I've been telling the SMD family, this channel is not to bash dead slaves because they're needed. This channel is for the SMD family because if I'm going through this right now, you go through this. I don't want to, lonely is the wrong word. It's going to feel like that because When I was in the debt matrix, everything's go, go, go. Friends here, we're doing things, some events, and we're hanging out, blah, blah, blah. But once I removed all these people, all of that stuff was to keep my mind busy, like I'm doing something, and not seeing the underlying factor that I was a debt slave. Everybody that I hang around, they had jobs like me, they had mortgages like me, they had cars like me with car payments. We're sitting around talking about, as soon as we get together, and it's so crazy. If a friend of mine's having a barbecue, we'll go over there, whole bunch of friends. What do we do? What do we do when we get there? Talk about work, hours, how's it doing, what you're doing at work. Somebody got a raise. Oh, I got a car. I just refinanced my house. I put on a new debt at an awesome interest rate. And we're sitting there all talking about debt, all talking about work away from work. No, no, that's not my perspective of the world. The wealthy don't talk like that. You know what the wealthy understand? They understand that true wealth is time. My time. I'm here temporarily. This is just my turn here. There have been millions of people here, right here on this earth before me. They've come here, lived their lives, and they're gone. This is just my turn. I think about now how many people have done that have never woken up, thought they had to continue to deal with family, uh, accept that family are just horrible to you, and you think you have to accept it because no, you don't. You don't have to accept anything. Time is ticking. Time is ticking. I'm not accepting any of that. God bless LJ. So thankful to know this knowledge. Man, listen, if I can help the SMD family members, wherever you're at, wherever you are in your journey, okay, wherever you are in your journey, if I've gone through it, I'm gonna give you the information. And once you escape, removed all the people, got rid of your job, you got your own business, and it's running successfully, and you're gonna feel this lonely feeling because you're gonna be in a perspective that many people will never ever reach. You'll you'll have the jealous people. Oh, you're trying to talk about you, but if you remove them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they say. If it doesn't matter if they tell other people. If you're not around those people, they they are in their own perspective talking about me. I have family members, I have exes talking about me. They still talk about me today. I know it for a fact. But as long as there is no connection for any of that information to get back to me, they're in their own perspective. They're talking about me in a perspective that I'm no longer in. So it doesn't bother me anymore because I'm in a whole different perspective. I already know today, right now, I already know today the value of SMD and what it can do for millions of people. It can change people's lives. I already know today. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out the structure around it to build it. It's just as big as SMD. It's just as big as Tesla. It's just as big as Tesla sending a rocket to the moon. It's just as big as that. It's just as big as his cars, his trucks. It's just as big as that. I'm not jealous of Elon or his money or what he's doing. I don't care. Congratulations to him because I know what S&D is. I already know. He's just figured out his structure and he's making it happen. That's all. God had to make sure before he gifted me what SMD is going to be, what it already is, what it's going to be. He had to make sure that all of the people in my life that could have possibly destroyed it with envy or jealousy have been removed. SMD family members, I hope you're listening. Do not let anybody in your life, even if you love them, even if they're your family members, if you could feel jealousy, if they're treating you bad, if they're talking about you behind your back, listen to the people that, if you got somebody in your family that's always talking to you about somebody else, they're talking about you too. Do not think that you're special, that this person that talks about everybody else and they're and they're telling you about it. Do not think for one moment that you are an exception. That's a dead giveaway. If you have anybody in your life that's talking about other people and they're always telling you about it, they're talking to other people about you too. Remove those people. Remove them. So focus. So focus right now. Can I split my savings so half goes to an account to pay down my debt in chunks, then the other half into stock portfolio? This is what I want you to do, B. Martin. This is what I want you to do, okay? Because you're having trouble. All right. All you have to do is open up the calculator, okay, and put in your savings minus your debt. How much money is showing on the calculator that you have to split into savings in your portfolio? I want you to do that right now. Open up the calculator, put in your savings minus your debt. Whatever you see on the calculator is how much you have to split between your savings and your portfolio. All you have to do is believe the calculator. That's all you got to do. Right now, I can tell by the way you're talking, you think if I don't put money into stocks, I'm going to miss something. Something I'm going to miss this split or whatever they're saying in this. Because this is what I want you. This is what I want you to listen, B. Martin, about the stock market. Okay, I'm going to tell you what the stock market really is. The stock market, first of all, is for businesses to get loans indirectly from the bank for free. Because the debt slaves have no money to invest in anything. They have zero money. Okay. So they must borrow money from the bank to invest in the stock market. They have to. So they get the money from the bank. They take that money and invest it in the stock market for the businesses to get it for free. You understand? Indirectly. So if something happens to the business and they lose some money or whatever, right? The people that are on the hook are the debt slaves. They're responsible for the loans. If the stock market if the stock market said, "Hey, we're no longer accepting margin to invest in the stock market would no longer exist." None of this exists without debt slaves. None of it. None of it. That's different. That's different. I'm talking about only debt slaves. Wealthy people, this is a different riff. Wealthy people have real money. Real money. They are in a totally different tax bracket. They do it for tax purposes. That's different. That's very different. When you talk about the wealthy, that means you moved on to a different perspective of the world. You're not talking about people in debt slave. The wealthy that take out loans that to avoid taxes, they're not making car payments. They don't have mortgages. They don't have multiple credit cards that they're making minimum payments on. You understand? There's a difference. People in debt, people in debt cannot avoid taxes. You understand? You must have money to avoid taxes. You have to have money to avoid taxes. So if a wealthy person decides to go get a loan to avoid taxes, say like they said, I'm going to go get a $50,000 loan for something or whatever to avoid some taxes. Well, when the bank runs their financials and they see that they have $1 million in the bank cashed up, of course they're going to get this loan. Of course, because they have the money to pay for it, but they're getting a loan to avoid some kind of tax situation. Tax lien or tax exactly. When it's time for me to buy a house or a property, I'm going to get a tax lien or foreclosure. Why? Because they will always be there because debt slaves have no money to keep anything. I don't look when it's time for me to look at a place, I'm not looking at the prices of houses. Oh, in this area, the housing market is this and that. No, that's for people. When you see the price of a house on a for sale sign, those are for people that need mortgages. You understand? That's for the price of people that need mortgages, not for people that have money. That when you see those prices are for people that believe they can buy a house with a mortgage. So take my current savings minus my total debt, I get a large negative number. Correct. I I believe in that number, so I can't make a return on my negative number. Then all you got to do, and this is the hard part, B. Martin, you have to believe the calculator. When you pay off your debt, go crazy investing in the stock market portfolios. You're going to have a clearer understanding. You're going to know exactly how the stock market works, who to trust, because you're going to have real money to do it. Don't try to split your money and do in right now paying off your debt is investing in yourself right now. You see a large negative number. You see that large negative number? Do you have any money to put in some kind of magic portfolio that's going to you don't. I'm not saying not do it later. I'm saying do it when you have when there's some money showing on the calculator. That's all I'm saying. Can you go into detail about the stock market is just for business or uh, indirect loans from banks to debt slaves? So these businesses take on business debt. Well, remember when you're crossing over into business debt. Okay, don't confuse the two. Business debt and personal debt are two different things. All I'm saying is this: look at it from the SMD perspective. Okay, the majority of people in the United States are in debt. So if you come across a person, it's not really difficult to find. Everybody knows somebody that's investing in the stock market with a mortgage. According to the laws of mathematics, if you have a mortgage, you have no money to invest in the stock market. A person doing that does not know that, obviously. There is no better investment than a place where you live that's paid off. There is no better there's nothing in the stock market that's going to pay your put it this way. Whatever your mortgage is, if you paid off your house, that monthly mortgage is guaranteed to stay in your bank account every single month. There are very few stocks that you can invest in that's going to pay your mortgage to you guaranteed every month. Guaranteed. That's how they raise money. They get indirect loans. The debt slaves get the loans. Remember, debt slaves have no money. They have no money. It doesn't matter where they're getting the money. Most of them are getting loans. They're refinancing their house, pulling out what they think equity. Take that money and investing in whatever. Think about the Tesla merger or whatever. Imagine how many people took out loans to invest in that. Just imagine. Now, these people, they have regular lives. They anything can a job loss, a divorce, a split up, breakup. It could a million things can happen. But if they took out, say like a person refinanced their house and took out $50,000 to invest into the new Tesla stock or whatever, right? And all of a sudden, and this person's married with children now, and then they end up getting a divorce, a job loss. Guess who's still on the hook for that 50,000? The debt slave is on the hook for the 50,000. The 50,000 is still inside the Tesla business. They got it, but who's on the hook for it? The debt slave. The United States capitalism was built on slavery, people. That is never going to change. As far as in my lifetime, it's never going to change. I understand that. But when you have real money and you want to invest in the stock market, go ahead with real money. And when you get up when you start making enough money, you start learning about tax avoidance. You can play with tax avoidance now. Those of you SMD family members with jobs and you're debt free right now, it, invest like say like you're investing in your HSA, okay, your health savings account. Well, usually the HSA they have a list of things that you could buy that you can participate in. To you can purchase some things with your HSA card. You can anything you purchase, you're doing tax free. Put it this way: say like you had put $5,000 in your HSA. Okay, not only do you get to take $5,000, remember, debt slaves can't do this. Not only can you take $5,000 off of your yearly income, you can also buy things on a particular list, a certain amount of certain types of things, not anything, but a particular list. And anything you buy with your HSA card, it's tax free. It's tax. You're not paying that money that you spend. You're not paying any taxes on it. So it's like a double tax savings that debt slaves cannot do. You can play with it now. So now, when you do become rich, wealthy, you'll know how to do tax avoidance. You'll know why wealthy people get loans to avoid taxes. But right now, if you're in debt, you don't know why they're doing that. Because when I hear people say, "Well, the wealthy," uh, Robert Kiyosaki, he says he always gets loans to, yeah, he's talking about business loans. He's a millionaire to avoid taxes. That's what he's doing. So as a debt slave, imagine a debt slave hearing Robert Kiyosaki talking about how much debt he gets to avoid taxes or whatever, right? One thing that Robert Kiyosaki never mentions, he's talking about business loans, business. But a debt slave here, well, if Robert do it, I'm gonna do it. No, you're in debt. That's different. Once you escape, like just be Martin, just listening to the way you're talking, right? You don't know, and this is not negative or anything to you. You don't know that you're talking like that. You believe, and I want you to just really think about this. That's why I had you open up the calculator. For some reason, you really believe that you could split the savings and invest into something else while being in a negative. That's a perspective. That goes against all the laws of mathematics. But for some reason, you still believe you can't. That's because that is the mindset inside the debt matrix. Debt slaves cannot do anything. They own nothing. They don't own themselves. They can't save for retirement. Retirement is not an age. That's all part of the program because they already know. Listen, they already know the majority of people are not even going to make it to 67. And if you do, you better hope you're healthy, your mind straight, you can walk, you can move, you can because when you're a debt slave and you're working, you believe that you are going to be working all the way up to that age. You believe you're going to be making the money that you're making right now. None of that is true. None of it's true. Think about it. When you sign up for a mortgage and you say, okay, my mortgage is 25, $2,000 a month, and you signing up for a mortgage based on the job that you have today, the bank already knows the possibility of you having that same job 30 years from now is slim to none. You are the only one that doesn't know that that's not true because you believe that you can buy a house with a mortgage. They already have you. When all these companies come in and, hey, we're going to save some money for you. You put X amount of dollars in and you're going to have $1 million. They don't know any of that. You don't know it. They don't know it. That's impossible to know. But if you don't know that's impossible to know, that's all business. All you got to do is turn to a person and say, do you know how much debt you have today? They're going to tell you no. That means there is no possible way they could ever possibly know how much they're going to need in retirement 30, 40 years from now. They already know that. They already know that. What about 401k loan to avoid taxes? Now Riff, I want you to listen to what you're saying. Borrow from your future to pay for your life today. 401k loan. Now remember this, Riff. If you are in debt, you have no money to put into a 401k to avoid taxes. You can't. So say like this, and I like to explain this. Say like you want to put $5,000 into your 401k, but you have a $40,000 car loan. I'm gonna keep it simple. 5,000 minus 40,000 is negative 35,000. The calculator says you have no money to put into a 401k loan or 401k to avoid any taxes. You understand? That is part of the debt matrix program to make people believe, first of all, to make people believe that retirement is an age, that some company is going to save for retirement for you. That's all part of the program. They know that you have no money to do anything. Nobody in debt, that's why I want everybody to listen. Nobody in debt can avoid taxes. Nobody. That's mathematically impossible. So if you hear somebody talking about getting a 401k loan, they're going to pay themselves back with interest. All of that is a program. It's still always remember the word loan. The word loan is the red flag. Loan. And if you're getting if because I've seen people on videos talking about getting 401k loan, borrow from their future to pay for their present. You don't want to listen to people that do that. You don't want to listen. I'm going to pay myself back with interest. Hey, whatever you want to believe, you can believe whatever you want to believe. That's a belief. Nobody in the debt matrix, anybody in debt cannot avoid taxes because you need money to avoid taxes. If you believe that you're investing in your 401k while having debt, that's a belief. That's not mathematical fact. You believe it. Oh, I see it on paper. Hey, whatever you want to believe, that's a belief. According to you or mathematics. Now, somebody with a mortgage, that's a hard pill to swallow. Somebody with student loan debt, if you have student loan debt, you can't avoid taxes. If you have a mortgage, you can't avoid taxes. If you have a car loan, you can't avoid taxes. You can't. You can't save for retirement. You can't invest in the stock market. All of that is a belief. That's a perspective. The debt matrix, I want you guys to, because I'm on the outside of the debt matrix now. There are an unlimited amount of perspective of capitalism. Unlimited. The debt matrix is one single perspective of capitalism that millions and millions of people happen to share. Everybody inside the debt matrix own nothing. It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter what they drive. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't even matter what type of job they have. They own nothing. If they're talking about investing, if you hear somebody talking about investing in the stock market or in their retirement plan or whatever, all you got to do is turn to them and say, do you have a mortgage? If they tell you yes, they're in a perspective that they believe they are. Mortgages buy people, not houses. It only takes one day to buy a house, not years. One day. You're welcome, Dark. Now, I want to warn you, okay, once you escape the debt matrix, your mind will have to be strong. And I'm telling you this from experience. Because this is what I've realized as a computer engineer making six figures. I was living in a comfortable, made up space inside of the debt matrix. I thought since I was making six figures, I'm good or something, or I was I had a Lexus and I was living in a high-rise apartment and I had all my stuff in it. All of it's all of it was a fantasy. It's a perspective in which I was living. Once I escaped it, I had to learn to be comfortable living. I know this is kind of weird because inside the debt matrix, you're comfortable. You think life, I'm going to dinner, I'm going on vacations, I got a relationship, we're doing things, like I'm driving a nice car. That's a fantasy, that's a trick. Once I escaped that world, that perspective of the world, now I had to get comfortable in what it really is, that the majority own nothing. I never owned nothing. I was never saving for retirement. I remember when I first left the debt matrix, and I didn't work for a year. I pulled out all my money out of my 401k, all my money that I say all my money like it was a lot, but it seemed like it's a lot because you just don't know. But I'm like, people are like, what are you gonna do for retirement? They're gonna charge you a penalty for pulling it early and this and that. All of it, those are fears. So you'll just leave the money in there so you won't spend it now with the present moment, which is the only time that matters. That you won't take the money and do something with it and invest it right now into a business, anything to scare you. I did these things. People thought I was crazy. All the people around me, the only thing they were doing was projecting their fears onto me, which I did not allow. What are you going to do when you get old? Are you going to have enough retirement? You're speaking for yourself. There are people around us right now that are making millions of dollars in a year. You think those people are worried about retirement? No, they're not worried about retirement. Imagine S&D family member. Imagine making just $1 million a year as a debt-free person. 1 million. You know how comfortable you would be? You guys all know you would be completely comfortable, not worried about anything. Just 1 million. Now think about making multi-millions of dollars as a debt-free person, debt-free. Dave Ramsey is doing it right now. Dave Ramsey is a debt-free business owner making millions of dollars a year. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine that. Imagine that. I know how much I'm making is not $1 million a year, and I'm debt free and I'm comfortable. What's the S&D perspective to get an older used Toyota minivan cash and make sure it's not a lemon? You get what you want right now. Get what you can buy in cash right now. If you want a minivan, get a minivan. I guess my truck is a 1995 GMC Yukon. Okay. But when you see it, it doesn't look like it. I mean, it's a 95, but it's clearly a very well kept 95. You know why? Because I have the money to do it. It's not difficult. I put a new engine and transmission in it. Anything goes wrong, I find a reputable shop that does a good job. I pay them what they're worth. Hey, fix this. This is wrong. Fix it. And then they have it done in a day or two. Done, fixed. You get to pick what you want. You can pick what you want. You don't have to drive an older that's what I wanted. That's what I got. Gas prices are irrelevant to me. When you see the price of gas inside the debt matrix, they don't know this. I'm gonna say this. When you see the price of gas, say like the price of gas is $4.50 a gallon. The price of gas is different for each debt slave that pulls up to the pump, because first of all, they pull up in a finance car. So if they couldn't afford the car, if they couldn't afford to buy the car in cash, they cannot afford to buy the gasoline in cash. Okay, you got to understand that. So it's the price of gas plus the interest rate of their credit card and the interest rate of their car loan spread across, because they're not paying off that credit card at the end of the month. They're not. So plus spread across over years. So who knows what the price of gas is? No different than a person that buys a Tesla thinking they're saving money on gas. They're not saving any money. They're not saving they're financing electricity. They're financing the charge. They're financing to charge it. They're financing to drive with no hands, to drive with FSD with no hands. That's not free. FSD don't even come with the price of the car. That's additional. You think they're paying for that? They're paying for FSD with a credit card. I'm not jealous of anybody. If I'm driving down the road and I see a Tesla, somebody with a Tesla, and they're driving with no hands, they got a table set up and they're eating. That program is to drive them to work and home. Believe that. Oh, I'm driving to work on the freeway. You're still. It doesn't matter if you're in the traffic on the freeway with no hands. Who cares? That doesn't matter. Oh, I set up a table. I can work in my car. Work in your car? I don't want to work in my car. They be having a whole setup like that's a flex. No, it's not. No, it's not. What do you mean get what I want right now? I have 3 kids and need a reliable minivan, currently borrowing father-in-laws and don't want to spend too much. Well, okay, when I say get what you need for your situation right now, that's what I mean. Okay. So if you're borrowing the minivan, fix the minivan up. You have the money. Put if they're letting you keep it or borrow it or whatever, right? Get a nice minivan, a reliable minivan. Pay for it in cash. You have and find a reliable repair shop that's honest, that's not trying to screw you, and you have the money to fix it. Throw it in the shop, get it fixed. It's especially a Toyota, especially a Toyota. It's going to last you. Get the kind of car you need for your situation right now. They Toyotas are nice, man. You can get a nice Land Cruiser. You can do it. I promise you. And anytime it breaks, you can just find a repair shop to get it fixed. Make sure it gets fixed properly. That thing's gonna last you till you pay off all your debt. Once your money starts stacking, then you can go out and buy cash. Remember, there's always going to be somebody with the car you want. There's always going to be somebody in financial trouble that's going to want to get rid of it for cheap so they don't mess up their credit because they lost their job or they're getting a divorce. Debt slaves are everywhere. The majority of them are in finance trouble. It might not look like it is, but they are. You are leaving that perspective of the world to where these these prices that you see, those prices will no longer apply to you. I promise you, they don't apply. Yes, and when I say old, you can get a nice one. You can get a nice one, minivan. Well, yes, you can because remember, you still got to do the things you need to do while you're getting out of debt. You can still do it if you need to buy a minivan right now, even though you're in debt. But if you have the cash to buy the minivan. But you're buying it in cash. Now you got a nice minivan and you continue on because I'm by myself. So my journey is going to be different from yours. Your situation is different. So you have to do certain things. I'm just saying, don't take money invested in the stock market. Invest it in a nice minivan, a Toyota Sienna Mini. I like those Sienna minivans, by the way. A nice Toyota Sienna minivan and buy it in cash. Those are investments that you have to do in your journey of becoming debt free. Toyotas are not. Honestly, I like the personally. I want a Toyota Avalon. I do. They stopped making them in 22, but right now a Toyota Avalon is not really on my target list right now to things to do. I have a girlfriend, and she knows she and I need to both get out of debt before we proceed to anything like marriage. Congratulations. Glad to hear you guys on the same page. That's very important because I always tell people like this: if you are in a relationship and one of you come across SMD and decide, "Whoa, that's a good idea. Let me get out of debt," and the other one is not trying to hear it, your relationship is going to be in trouble. because this was what's crazy. Let me tell you guys a story. This last relationship I was with, I came across a woman. I'm debt free. She's debt free. Uh, she's like, okay, cool. I'm with it too. I like being debt free. And as the relationship progressed, we created a business together, right? And as the relationship progressed, she started talking. She started doing things opposite of what I how I live my life. She was like, "Well, Linnell, it might take a long time to save up for this particular car, and we might have to get a loan for a car. We might have to get a loan for a house." I'm like, You're going against everything I'm talking about." She figured, since I was in a relationship with her now, and I had feeling that I was going to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, since we have a business, we can afford." No, no, I'm not doing it. I'm thinking you're going against everything I believe in. What I built SMD on. Well, we might know. Relationship over. It's over. I don't care who you are. I'm not going in debt for nobody. I don't care what they think I'm supposed to have by age 56. Because debt slaves will make you believe that, oh man, you need a house by now. I can't believe you're still in an apartment. Hey, whatever. Listen, bye. I'm in a. I live in 100% peace right now. You hear me? 100% peace. Yes, it's just me. I love it. It's by myself. It's just me. I can't, honestly, right now, I have no idea what type of woman that is for my future. I can't even picture it, because looks and everything, of course, that's going to have to be part of it. But her mind, she's got to be debt free. She's going to have to understand the perspective in which I live, that I don't, I'm at peace. There is no arguing. There is no disrespecting none of that. And sex is the very last thing on my mind, the very last thing. And as a man, let me tell you something, man. If you've never experienced it, let me tell you something. It is so freeing. It's so freeing. I don't give off that energy of that hungry look, looking at a woman, thinking, I got to get me some of that. No, I could still appreciate a woman, but it's not that hungry look. I don't have to have her. I don't even listen. I don't even think about that, because I don't know how she is mentally. I don't know how her sexual life started. I don't know how she feels about it. What's her purpose for even having sex? I don't. These are things I've never thought about as a man, but I do now. I know what it means to me. I only know what it means to me. But that's not even a discussion. You understand? It's not even a discussion. My kids are adults now. You know, it's very different, and I love my life. I love it. I love helping people. When I'm out and about, they can see it. People talk to me everywhere I go. Somebody talks to me, and I already know why, because it's the energy I give off. Because I'm at peace. I'm never walking around angry or mad, or I don't get upset in traffic if somebody cuts me off, because I'm barely in it. I'm barely in traffic. My life is beautiful. I love helping people. I love doing SMD now. To just I'm more these videos. I'm more just these are more just for SMD family, because even though each of us are on our own journey, we have our own situation, we have our own relationships, marriages, whatever, right? You're all going to come into the same place, but from different directions. It's just, you said, once you have kids, you're automatic. Well, that's here. And here's another situation, Riff. Let me tell you, it seems like that, yes. But now, if I had the knowledge right now that I had today, before I had children, I would not have went into debt having children. It seems like you're going to go into debt, but if I could go back now, I would have first. I wouldn't have got married. I wouldn't have had no children. I would have built. I would have saved money. I would have found myself first. save money, have my own place to live, and I wouldn't even had been in a relationship with a woman even talking about kids unless she was in the same space as me. We would have planned having children. You don't have to go in debt having children. That's a false narrative. That's false. I went in debt having children because I didn't plan for it. If you plan for it, that's like that's like saying Elon Musk is having children and he's going in debt having children. No, he's not. Elon Musk is not. He's not going in debt having children. Jeff Bezos, no, he's not. None of that. Nothing is automatic. Nothing. Today, I just wouldn't have had children until I was ready. There wouldn't have been no accidents. That would have never happened ever. Let me plug my thing up. You plan to have children. They just don't happen. There are no accidents. When I had my children, I wasn't thinking at all. I was thinking about one thing, and that was it. Today, that would have never happened, ever. I wouldn't have accidentally got a woman pregnant. That wouldn't have happened. Nope, not at all. Once you guys escape the debt matrix and the way people live and oh man, sometimes I'll go back and think about, and it's only because I can see right now. That's a when you catch yourself, when you start freeing yourself, you're gonna think this is automatic, it always happens. If I would have did this at this age, if I would have did this at this particular age, I would have did blah blah blah. You're gonna go through all that. The only reason why you're saying that is because you know now. Always remember, if you catch yourself going back, if I only knew this at this age, the reason why you didn't do it at that age is because you didn't know. And the only reason why you're saying it is because you know today. That's all. So catch yourself. Catch yourself. If you could start over, what age do you think that would have been for you? Wait, let me say that. If you could start all over, what age do you think that would have been for you? I know that it's different and depends on the circumstances. Well, if I had this knowledge at 18, there wouldn't have been no random sex happening. My and remember, I'm only telling you this because I know my friends would have been different. I would have removed family members earlier in my life. I don't care who it was, sisters, mom, dad, anybody that's negative or try to put doubt in my mind, they would have been removed. Any woman that I've met, I would have sat down and talked. I would have been like, "Hey, what are you looking for?" That's what I would have been. If the girl would have came on to me, I would have been like, "What are you? I see you like me, but what are you looking for?" Because I would have to make sure. Are you are you are you looking to be debt free? Or when are you looking to have kids? Are you planning for kids or whatever? And then I would tell them, "Well, I'm not your man. It's not going to happen with me. You probably need to go find that man because it's not going to happen with me." uh, especially the younger generation, they have student loans. I would have been like, "Do you have student loans?" If she would have said, "Yeah," I would have been like, What's your plan to pay those student loans off?" "Oh, well, I'm just going to live with him for life." I would have said, "Well, yeah, I'm not the man for you because I'm not living with debt for life because those debt problems, if I marry her, those debt problems are going to be my problems." And for kids, my kids, her and I would, first of all, the woman and I will have to be on the same. We are the foundation. We are the foundation. We would have a house, a successful business happening that we control. We're not in debt. The business doesn't control us. And and once all that and money's in the bank, and we have a business. So once we have our children, we go to every uh, uh, class function, every parental meeting, anything. Because with me growing up, I worked so much I couldn't show up for the class things that happen, the things that happen in the evenings or a midday parent conference. I had to work. You had to miss it. And then you have arguments. Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have time off. No, I would have been at every single thing. My kid would have seen me out in the audience at their performance, every performance they had at school, every school event. Mom and dad is there. You know how beautiful that is? You know how beautiful that would be to see your parents there as a young child at every school event? Man, I used to dream about that. My mom was a single mom. I understood why she couldn't be there. But for me, if I could go back now, everything would have been set so I could be there. Not saying, telling my kid, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey, I couldn't. Daddy had to work overtime." And no, fuck no, none of that. All of that is important because once that time is gone, it's gone. No, my kids will have never seen mom and dad arguing in front of them, having disagreements right in front of the children. They would have seen mom and dad's a team front. They couldn't put us against each other. Well, mom said I could. No, none of that. None of that would have happened. Everything, my whole life would have been different. It would have been totally different. Sounds like I should take the gift of this borrowed van and exactly take the gift of that borrowed van for sure until I'm debt free, then get a used Sienna instead of using some of my van funds for exactly the borrowed van is a gift. If it and this is what I would do if somebody let me borrow their van as a gift, anything that was wrong with it, I would get it fixed for that person. It would be totally fixed. They wouldn't have to worry about if it broke down on me. I wouldn't say, "Hey, your van broke down." I would get it fixed as a thank you for letting me borrow that van. That's a gift. That is a gift. Take that gift and appreciate it and pay your debt off. Don't worry about what Susie and John has, thinking and looking like they're living better than you. You got to get over all that. Get over all that because you're going to live better for the rest of your life once you get out of debt. What kind of van are they letting you borrow? Is it reliable? Don't be embarrassed because it's not a 2026 something whatever. The majority of people, long as you understand that you don't live in that perspective. This is me today. I don't care what anybody drives. I don't care what kind of house they have. I don't care what kind of clothes they wear. I don't care how many vacations they're on. If they're in debt, their time is ticking. Their whole life relies on the job. Imagine a person that's making six figures and then they lose their job. Then they lose it. Can you imagine? Imagine they lose their job. Their whole life has changed. Some of them can't handle that. Some of them cannot. I know that today. I don't in the perspective in which I live today, I don't really see people's stuff because I don't know how they got it. It doesn't impress me. I don't care what I just don't care. I don't look at the world like that. It is very strong. It's very powerful. You know why it's so strong? Because debt slaves are the engine of this economy. Without debt slaves, capitalism doesn't exist. The reason why debt slaves hate taxes because they can't do nothing about them. That's why they hate them. Taxes, when you have money, taxes are a form of income. You hear me? Taxes are a form of income debt slaves cannot earn. They cannot earn it. You think, for example, here, let me give you guys an example. If 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 Apple decided to say, "Hey, nobody can when we come out with our new phones, nobody can finance them. You can only pay cash for iPhones." Guess what would happen to their sales? They wouldn't sell any iPhones. If you want to see if somebody's a debt slave, ask them if they're making payments on their iPhone. That'll tell you they're a debt slave if they're making payments. A debt slave will tell you their whole financial situation by telling you that they're making payments on a phone. Are you listen to how I'm saying it? They're making payments on a phone. You know why those phones are like 15, 16, $2,000? Because they're financing the phones, you guys. The phones would not be that much if they could only pay for that phone. They wouldn't be that much because they wouldn't sell no phones. You think like when iPhone comes out with their phones and they charge 15, 16, $1,700, you think they come up with the price of their phones? No, that's up to the bank. They have to negotiate that price with the bank because if the bank says, hey, we're not going to finance no phone for $1,500, $1,600, they couldn't sell phones. So they have to work with the banks. It changes your listen, not only just your mental, it's going to change your entire life physically and mentally. Enjoy that journey. The journey, even though it's scary sometimes, even though it causes a lot of fear, it's going to be worth it because it's beautiful once you come out of it. It's just beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's an amazing it has an amazing extended warranty. It's a 2012 Dodge Caravan. So if it breaks down, most of the time, my father-in-law just have to pay $100 and take that gift. That's a gift. That's a gift. When I see gifts like that, that's a gift from God. You hear me? That's a gift from God, letting you know that you're on the right track to freeing yourself. The debt matrix is so strong, LJ. I was doing so good and got knocked back down a peg. I'm still fighting to be debt free. Let me tell you something, okay? When you get knocked back down, little goody, when you get knocked back down, you say to yourself, what lesson did I learn? What lesson did I learn when I got knocked back down? Because now, once you know, little goody, once you know, you're not staying there. Don't feel bad if you get knocked back because a ton of people, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of debts, SMD family members that got set back for a second. It just happens. It just happens. It's powerful. It's strong. It makes you, I have the utmost respect. Let me tell you guys something. I have full respect for the debt matrix. You hear me? Full respect. I do not disrespect the debt matrix. Do not disrespect it. Do not. It's powerful. You got to remember, we were all born in it. And this is how powerful it is. So you guys really get it, right? I was born in the debt matrix. Being born in the debt matrix, that means that was the only perspective of capitalism that I knew. The only way I escaped it is to become debt free. Once I became debt free, then and only then, I knew I escaped something that I did not know I was born in. I didn't know I was born in the debt matrix. I didn't know I was born there. Zero is the door that exits the debt matrix. Once I got to zero, I escaped it. Then and only then, I knew I escaped something that I didn't know I was born in. If I didn't escape the debt matrix, there's no way I could even be talking to you guys about it today because I wouldn't know that I escaped something I was born in. So even with you, little goody, talking about you got knocked back down, the fact that you are aware that you got put back into something that you know you were escaping, you got to admit, this is how you got to change your mind. The fact that you even know that you got knocked back down to something, because if you start feeling bad about getting knocked back down, all you got to do is just remind yourself, go to some of your debts, go to your debt slave friends and say, "Hey, is that you making car payments and is that the new iPhone?" They don't even know they're in it. They don't know that they're in it. The fact that you are aware that you got knocked back in deeper or back in is still a good thing because you're not going to stay there. Because you cannot unsee once you can see. You cannot unsee. There is no unseeing. I did. I saw that. I heard about Apple's new, and that surprised me because when Apple first came up with their own this is what surprises me. Apple came up with their own Afterpay type of finance thing, and now they're partnering up with somebody. I'm surprised. I'm assuming they're doing that because the people that they partner up, the Afterpay finance people, they take all the risks. So I'm assuming Apple's doing that because when they came up with their own Afterpay, they're assuming all of the risk for people that use Afterpay, because people that use Afterpay and stuff like that, those people, those debt slaves are a huge risk, huge risk. So I'm assuming Apple's partnering up with the finance company. I believe it's Klarna. I think Klarna is backing them. And so Klarna is assuming all the risk by taking on that kind of risk of debt slaves, because those type of debt slaves are high risk, very high risk. Getting set back is part of the journey. Keep going. Yeah, it's part of the journey. Never feel bad. Never give up. Honestly, I believe the SMD family members that get set back, if you feel bad, it doesn't matter because you're not going to stay there because you can't. Your eyes are open. You can't unsee. You can't. They get mad when you try to explain it to them. Man, yeah, I'm not here to save anybody. You hear me? I'm not here to save, especially debt slaves. If they come to me asking the right questions, cool, but I'm not coming to them. I'm not saying, hey, you know that's bad to finance cars. You shouldn't finance phones. No, because when you create your own business, SMD family members, the only way your business is going to be successful is people are going to be financing your product. Apple would not exist if people couldn't finance their phones. Amazon would not exist. None of those companies would exist if financing wasn't available. They are the engine of the economy. None of this works without debt slaves. You are just removing yourself as a debt slave, and then you're going to create your own business, and then you're going to invite finance. Financing is going to be part of your business. You think Tesla would be as successful as they are if people couldn't finance their cars? No, the banks know that. The banks control everything. Look how many Teslas are out there. None of that, and you guys got to understand, physical money does not exist for debt slaves. When they finance a car, there is no physical money exchanged. All those Teslas you see, cars, period, not just Teslas, all those cars you see out there, there was no physical money exchanged. They're just digital numbers on the screen. Money doesn't exist for them. One sec, I got to drink some water. When they log into their accounts, digital numbers on the screen. When they check on their retirement plan, digital numbers on the screen. Money's an illusion for debt slaves. When I hear somebody complain about taxes, they're telling me about who they are. They're debt slaves. Their finances are bad if they're complaining about taxes. Because once you're debt free, you're going to enjoy tax savings. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be doing something that they cannot do. They cannot save money on taxes. They can't, like the majority of six-figure earners that are in debt, they can't do nothing about their tax bracket. Nothing. When you hear people brag about, oh yeah, I'm in a high tax bracket. They're bragging about it. You don't brag about being in a high tax bracket. That's not a something to brag about. You don't do that. When you have money, you figure out a way to lower your tax bracket as low as possible. You can do it because you have money. You have to have the only way to lower your tax, to lower yourself to save money on taxes, you have to have real money, real money, real money. Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful. I learn more and more. Right now, I'm figuring out how to use taxes and finances to get healthcare insurance as a business owner and get it as low as possible. I'm figuring that out right now because right now you look at healthcare insurance, you're like they go by your income. If you make an X amount, these are your premiums. Yeah, if you go directly that way, yes, that's true. Directly, yes, but then there's other ways to do it to where you don't have to pay those highest premiums. Because I thought to myself, I said, if I made $1 million a year and they go by, and if they go by your income, can you imagine what my healthcare premiums would be per month if I made $1 million a year? I said to myself, there is no way wealthy people are paying those type of premiums. They're not doing that. So there's another way. There's another way. So I'm figuring that out. But in order to do that, you have to take the leap first. Maybe you will go without healthcare insurance for a little while. Maybe you will. And you know what's so crazy? This is what crazy. I was unfortunately I went to this I mean not unfortunately I went to this gathering at this park, and unfortunately I had this discussion with a debt slave, right? And we started getting on. I don't know how he wrapped me up in it, but we started getting on about healthcare, right? And I forgot something. I said, yeah, but if what if you get in an accident or something, and you get $100,000 in healthcare debt or something like that. He said he turned to he turned to me and said, yeah, but if I get a bill, what are they gonna do about it if I don't pay it? That's what he was. And he looked at when he said that to me. I was like, yeah, what are they gonna do about it? Nothing. What are they gonna do about it? Nothing. I was like, yeah, you're right. They can't do nothing. No, nothing. Because it is ridiculous. The price of healthcare it's ridiculous and it's privatized. Now you guys got to really pay attention. The majority of healthcare here is private for-profit business. Their purpose here is to make money, lots of money. That should tell you everything. Why is it private? Why is it makes no sense, right? No sense because debt slaves have no money and they know it. They know debt slaves have no money and terrified of getting sick. And we eat, listen, they are profiting so much. Here in America, they got restaurants everywhere, every corner, every strip mall, on street corners, in trucks, and all you can eat restaurants. They're taking full advantage of us here in America because we eat poorly. We don't care what's in it. All you gotta do is read the back of the packages of half the shit we eat. You can't even pronounce the names in it. None of that. It can't be healthy. It's not. So since we don't care here what we eat or what's in it, guess what they're making trillions of dollars. And then, oh, something's wrong with me. Like you really don't know. We just play dumb. Like, oh my God, how did I get sick? Why is my health bad? And you know what you're eating, right? And then you go to the hospital. Guess what they do? They give you a pill. The doctor don't say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should change your eating habits. Maybe you should stop eating at all you can eat restaurants, salty food and bad sweets and stuff. They don't say that. They just say, here, take this pill. We don't even know what's in those pills. They just give us a pill and say, this pill is going to take care of that. Well, what's in that pill? We don't know. We just trust the doctor instead of trusting themselves. Since I trust myself, I trust myself now. And I had to, in order for me to do it, and this is what, because I was just like everybody else, this is what it took me to do that. I had to go without healthcare insurance, and I said, okay, I can't afford to get sick or have a health problem due to my own self. So I had to watch it. I had to do it. So now it's just the way I live. I don't eat like that no more, the way I used to eat. All these businesses that make food, they're for profit. They're there to make money. So they're going to get whatever they need to get at the cheapest price to make whatever they need to make for you to taste good. That's what they're going to do. I'm not faulting any businesses. They're just going to do what they need to do to make the most money they can. I get it, totally get it. But now I cook the majority of my food. I cook myself. I know what's in it. Maybe I can't control where all my food come from. I don't have no control, but I can control how I cook it, what I put in it, how much salt, seasoning. I control that. Right? They can buy your medical bills and sell it for pennies on it. Yes, exactly. You know what I've learned too? This is what I learned too. I've learned that going directly to a doctor paying out of pocket, it is so much cheaper. It is so much cheaper, so much cheaper. And even like one time I had to go to the emergency room, and in my mind I'm thinking, oh my God, this is gonna cost thousands of dollars and blah blah blah. Well, the prices in my mind are insurance prices. But when I paid it out of my pocket, you say, okay, hey, I'm paying this bill out of my pocket. It's a different price for people that pay out of their pocket. They reduce it 20, 30%, and then they can put you on a payment plan, no interest, whatever. It's crazy. It's a whole different world when you remove the insurance companies. It's crazy. You learn so much once you get over the fear. Now, I've learned a little bit. I'm like, okay, how are the wealthy doing it? The wealthy will buy a high deductible plan, like a catastrophe plan, right? With a high deductible. So if something happened, like say like they got a heart attack and you go in there, that's 200,000, 300,000. They have a plan for that. And say like the high deductible plan is $10,000. If you're making millions of dollars and you got a high deductible plan of $10,000 and you have a heart attack, that's nothing. You pay the 10,000, the rest of it's covered under the high deductible plan. The other, the the checkups, the little things that you need to, which I never did, even when I had insurance in a job, I didn't get regular checkups. Now you can go when you pay out of pocket, you can choose the doctor that you want to go to. Go to that doctor, say, "Hey, doc." No different than like a dentist. If you go to a dentist, right? The dentists usually have plans that you could say, hey, we have a plan here. You can pay $500. You get X amount of cleanings, checkups, blah, 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 without insurance. The same thing goes with the doctors. You could do the exact same thing. You don't have to go to this particular doctor if it's in network or out of network. If this covered, you got to wait this. No, you just go straight to the doctor and say, hey, what's your plan here that you have in your private practice or whatever you have, right? And then you just pay. And this is the beautiful thing, the money that you pay to the doctor, because with a plan you have monthly premiums, that doesn't go for your health care. Your premiums are just for the privilege of having a policy. That's just for the privilege. So if you pay $600, say like you pay $600 a month for your insurance policy, right? That $600 doesn't go for checkups or any. That's just for the privilege of having a plan. If you go directly to a doctor and they charge, say, like it's $600 a month or whatever for this, whatever, right? Right. That comes with checkups. That comes with stuff. That doesn't come for just having the plan with the doctor. That comes with stuff. It's beautiful. Private disability plans protect your income if something happens to you. You really discover, and see, I don't even know about that stuff. I'm still discovering all this stuff because one thing about a job, and this is what I figured about since I've left the job world. A job is there. We'll take care of everything. We'll get your insurance. We'll take care of your taxes. We'll take it. We'll take all the taxes and FICA and stuff out of your checks. You are just here to focus on work. You are here to focus on your job. Here, we'll take care of the rest. Once you escape, it's you're kind of nervous at first because you never had to deal with that type of first now, that kind of stuff at first, right? But now you have to take care of yourself. But once you start going, you find the right kind of business tax people that you trust, and you start stacking up money, and then you know how, when you're debt free, you know how to pick the right investor people. You start understanding how the healthcare system works, how you can go around certain avenues to get a good plan. Pick the doctors that you want, not the doctors that come with the plan. This is who you have to go to. You don't know if that doctor's good, if you like them or not. If they're there just for the money, you don't even know. You just don't even know. It's beautiful. Anyway, this is we're going on a couple hours, and a couple hours is my limit. Oh, excuse me. I appreciate you guys all. Wait, let me see if you guys here. Let me do this. If you guys have any questions for me, because I never do that. If you have any questions for me, put that here. I'll give it a couple minutes here. There's a link if you want to ask me any questions, but if not, we're going to cap it off here. I appreciate you, D Waves, for the questions, and Hoop Therapy. Appreciate you. B Martin, Dark. Who was in there? Riff. And if you catch it later, leave a comment. Appreciate you, man. I really do. This is for the family members. I'm going to share all my personal, anything that's going to help you guys journey. One second. Anything that's going to help you guys journey be a little easier when you run into these things that happen in this perspective, that very few people that know this perspective, it exists. Now, the wealthy people know this perspective exists because they've probably been taught this in generations of the family, which is a beautiful thing. I couldn't even imagine being taught this as a child. Growing up, that would have been a beautiful thing. I understand now that if I can get a hold of the younger generation, even children, and teach them SMD knowledge, that would be a dream of mine. That would be beautiful, because I realize that grown-ups that have been born inside of the debt matrix, they're probably lost. They're probably never going to come out, in which I understand, because I know debt slaves are the engine of the economy. None of capitalism. That's why the economy of capitalism is all over the world. That's why so many countries adopt capitalism, because debt slaves are the engine. None of this exists without debt slaves. None of it. So I get it. So at first, I was always trying to focus on the adults, trying to help them, but I know that it's probably not the only way it's gonna happen is for the younger adults, for children to get this, because they still know math. They were taught the number line in school. They could still remember positive numbers, negative numbers, zero in the middle. They understand. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I learned that in Miss So and So's class in 6th grade, 5th grade." Yes, exactly. Probably younger than that. Probably 4th grade, 5th grade, where you learn the number line. Because all you got to do is take the number line, apply it to your finances, and believe it, and you'll be wealthy. That's it. That's all you got to do. But when you're caught in a debt matrix, you just cannot accept that becoming wealthy is that simple. It's that simple. And when I say wealthy, and you notice I don't say rich, I say wealthy, because wealth is many things. It's time, it's money, it's your lifestyle, it's the way you think, it's the way you walk, It's your confidence. If you're a low if you're a person with low self-esteem, I guarantee you're going to have high self-esteem. It's not going to matter what you look like. You're going to take care of yourself physically. Everything in your life is going to change forever. People are going to see it. They're going to feel it when you walk into a room. They're going to be like, what's up with that person? Why is this? Why am I attracted? You're going to notice everywhere you go, people are going to be wanting to talk to you. You can be sitting in a corner all by yourself. Somebody's going to come over there and start talking to you. And then one day you're going to realize, I know why they're talking to me, because of the energy I give off. You're going to know. All right, you guys. Take care of yourself. Take this knowledge, use it, and become wealthy. Become free. All right, you guys take care of yourself.